Good morning, my name is Lizzie. Today we are going to be talking about personas and how to go about making them, as well as me maybe yapping a little bit about my own shortcake, or Ichigo Shortcake is her full name. We love her, we know her. Strawberry Queen. Just a disclaimer before we start, this is more of a rambling rather than like a step-by-step guide and like a visual tutorial. It is just me telling you and how I went about my process and rambling about my character and more. Here is a small list of the topics we're going to be talking about, as well as their respective timestamps. So if you're looking for something specific, you can go ahead and skip to that point in the video. Alright, so first things first, how did I make my persona? So something that's a little funny about how I went about making mine is that I didn't. Shortcake was completely out of the blue. She kind of just happened because I didn't draw her, I didn't design her, which then leads to another question where it's like, why should you give tips about this when you didn't even design your own character? You had her commissioned. Well, because I've had very many personas in the past. Every month I made a new persona, I swear to God. And this is just me saying that you don't have to design your persona yourself. You can get somebody else to if you're really having a hard time doing it. So what happened with Shortcake is that I wasn't having a good day and I wanted to make myself happy. So I found a artist that I could commission for pretty cheap, pretty decent, with a style that I really enjoyed, I thought was really pretty. So I commissioned them, and then it was a mystery design, I want to know. I did not know what I was getting, nor did I tell them what I wanted. I simply gave them a designs preferences and things, like a list of things I like. So I gave them that, and then 2 days later, without any updates, any work in progresses, nothing, they gave me Shortcake, which is the art that is in the little subview. That is Shortcake. I will also put up the full design and full drawing, as well as the username of the artist, because I do not remember their name at all. So link in description of their toy house and anything else. Great artist, love them. And that is how Shortcake was born. That's how she was created. That's kind of just like goes to show that you don't have to make them yourself, especially if you're having a hard time doing it. You can either commission somebody else to do what I did, make a mystery design. Not always the safest idea because you don't know what you're getting, so I wouldn't really recommend doing that. It just worked out for me, especially since I wasn't intentionally looking to make a sona. I just wanted a design to have. But you can commission another artist with some of your ideas that you want if you just don't want to draw it yourself, or you're having a hard time, or you can't draw. All of those things, commission another artist. There's so many that you can get for cheap, plus you could potentially be supporting a small artist, which is great. If you do end up going that route, what I would recommend doing, which is something that I did do, which I already had, is making a design preferences list. So when I'm looking at character designs on just scrolling on Toy House or Pinterest or whatever, I have like preferences and designs that I really enjoy looking at. So, like when I see a design with one of these preferences, I'm like, everything about it, love it, right? So gather all of these preferences and likes you have into one list. I have one on I have my list somewhere on Toy House. That's just where I put mine, because I can put links of design examples that I like as well, which is another thing I would recommend doing for an artist if you want to kind of give more examples. So that's what I did, and that's what you can do if you want to go with that route. You can make a mood board, but I just don't think the mood boards are necessarily all that effective, because there's a couple of reasons. Like, first off, when you're making a mood board and you're like browsing on Pinterest, you can like think at first, okay, this is what I want as my persona. This is what I want the design to look like. But the thing is, that could just be you today. That could just be you yesterday. Like, you wanting that can change so quickly. And so you're looking for these pictures and ideas and things to add to your mood board based off of this idea you have, but you really don't, you just like it a little bit. Like, you don't love it, or you don't actually have that big of an interest in it, which therefore will end up giving you more of a persona you don't really have a connection with, and that you will just kind of like not like over time, and you'll just change. You'll end up changing them. bringing me to my next topic on how to make your persona more you. My tips in going about this is just sit for a second and just like think about your utmost favoriteest things in the world. Like, I'm not telling you to pick your favorite fruits or colors, like, no, everything, like your all-time favorite things ever, compile those in like a list, kind of like your preferences list, but just everything, right? So like for me, I would say like horror, bugs. I do love strawberries. I don't know if it's an all-time thing, but I do love them. So anyways, like superheroes, like reading, like these are like my all-time favorite things to do and just that I enjoy in general, right? So compile this list and take the things that you can turn into designs and characteristics, right? And add them to your character. So kind of add your favorite things ever, turn them into characteristics, and then give them to your character. To make it easier, don't make an infinitely long list. Choose very specific things that like only a few things, right? So like, for example, the few things that are in Shortcake's design that are like my all-time things ever are horror and strawberries, right? That's only 2 things really. And I guess I did add bugs and insects into her design because it's an all-time thing, so that's 3 things, right? I only added 3 things into her designs that are some of my all-time favorite things ever. I want to say 5's the limit, but even that's kind of pushing it. Choose like 2 to 4 different things about you to add into your character. That's about all I've got really for making your persona you. To sum it up, it's just to give them characteristics about you, right? Like hobbies, just anything really, give that to them, right? This doesn't include physical stuff. You can make your persona look like you if you want, whether that be it's just like your hair length, your hairstyle, hair color, or they just overall just look like you. That is another way where you can just make it you because it literally is you. So that's one way if you want. So moving on, but like also kind of related to, is how to connect with your persona, because I have seen a couple of times where people are having a hard time connecting with their persona, which just means they're not your persona at that point. You should start over in the design somehow, because if they're not connecting with you, they're just kind of an OC at that point, I guess. I would like it, with adding the things on the like how to make your persona you, like adding those ideas that I have and whatnot will automatically kind of just connect you with your persona, because like you're basically just putting a part of you into it, and so you're just like connected. That, and like over time, the more you draw them and the more you change them to be more like you, you'll just get more emotionally attached, kind of how my same process was with Clementine. At first she was kind of whatever, and then I just was like, I kind of just said that I utterly loved her, and then after a while I just got attached to her and didn't want to change her because I just really liked it and it worked for me, right? So that's like all I can really give my 2 cents on for that. So moving on to the next thing that I had, which was making a unique persona. This is another thing that I see a lot of people asking or just struggling with in general. And what I have to say to that is your persona is probably already pretty unique. I won't lie to you. If it's based off of you, then that's already unique. Like, it's because since you're already a unique person, then it's a unique character. But if you're struggling more with like the design of it, if it's kind of like more like Shortcake, where it's less based off of you and more of like its own thing that just represents you, I can understand why it can be kind of like difficult. Like, I'm a character design artist. I design characters all the time. It's my pride and joy. I love doing it. But I wouldn't consider all of my designs completely unique, because all of my designs were based off of an idea that somebody else had, right? I based them all off of things that I've seen on Pinterest, whether that just be like a photo of a stuffed animal or another person's drawing that inspired me. These are still things that somebody had made, right? Like, somebody took the time and effort to take that picture of this stuffed animal, which somebody else made, right? But it's still inspired me to make something completely new that might be a little bit like unrelated completely sometimes. So honestly, nothing is really unique at the end of the day. So I would say focus more on not making it unique, but making it more uncommon, if that makes sense. Or you can give your character one specific unique feature. For example, for Shortcake isn't a particularly unique character design. She's literally a pink-haired character with blue eyes. Do you know how many times I've seen that personally in other people's personas or just OCs in general? A lot of times. It's completely common, right? But she has a unique characteristic, which is her berry bites, right? The little strawberry monsters that are also kind of like those flytrap plants, right? That's basically what they are, but make it strawberry. But honestly, also, you don't even have to make it unique. Who said you had to? I mean, I understand that if you are really trying to build a brand, you probably will want to make some key feature of your character unique and like recognizable, so that like when people see you, they know it's you. Then, okay, yeah, you'll probably need to do that. But otherwise, literally Shortcake, she's just a pink-haired girl with blue eyes. Like, the only thing unique about her really is like her lore that I gave her, and their berry bites, which is a part of her lore, right? But also, I just really enjoy looking at characters in general with pink and blue eyes. Like, I love that character trope so much. And so it also works for me for her to be my persona. Yeah. Another thing you can do, yay, so many different things you can do. I don't know, there's this thing that some artists do for reference pictures specifically. I've never done it myself, but it's basically just like Frankensteining your reference photo so you can get the proper reference photo that you actually need and or want. So you can do that as well with specifically character design stuff. So you can just like Frankenstein a character together from a ton of images of like just little things you like about all these different images. And the last thing I would recommend doing is giving them a recognizable silhouette. This is a thing you want to do for character design in general if you want to have, like, for lack of a better word, character like composition, I suppose. I'm really losing the word I'm looking for right now, but just better, like, good, like, weight language and whatnot. So, like, not everything is the same shape. And, like, the silhouette of the character needs to be like, okay, I know exactly who this is. If you're an artist and you've ever watched YouTube or any art videos, you've probably heard this before. You probably know what I'm talking about at this point. So actually maybe put it into action, maybe, if you haven't already. It's a really good thing to do. Well, that's about all of the tips I have for making a persona. Here are 4 ideas I came up with that you could maybe base your persona off of if you would like. So one thing you can do is you, but with a really recognizable aspect, such as a hair accessory item or feature. A really popular artist I know who does this is Narami. I apologize if I'm saying that wrong, but her persona is literally just her, and her like recognizable feature slash aspect is her bow, right? Like, she's literally made videos about it without it, and like there's literally videos like The next idea is using an OC. Choose an OC you love or have a good connection with and use them as your online persona / like your brand. The only person I can really think of who kind of does this is Rubber Ross, but I don't really know if that's more of his OC he kind of just uses as his brand or if it's his like persona. I don't know. For example, there you go. My next idea, something that I don't see often but when I do, I'm like, that is such a cute persona, is just making a really, really simplistic persona. Like, most people like making complex or detailed personas, but like you can be the odd one out and do something like super simple, like a cute little blob. I don't know, just like a blob with a face, something really simple, right? Another idea I had was maybe making your persona like a mangaka would, because manga artists like persona / like how they portray themselves, they tend to be so goofy and silly, and I love that. So you can always do something like that. That's about all the ideas I had for persona ideas. But if you use one, definitely let me know. I would love to see them. And if you have any more questions or anything more to ask that I could answer for you, don't be afraid to leave a comment down below. I would love to reply to everybody the best I possibly can. Be sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell. I have lots of videos planned for the future. That's all for today, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.